Hi there, me again. Now we move along to the Radiation Therapy Degree Plan page. I'm going to talk about this in two sections. This first section is going to deal with talking about the general education classes that are required by our degree. If you've fulfilled all of your general education requirements already, or don't have any questions about general education requirements like English, math, A&P, medical terminology, or anything like that, then go ahead and skip this section, and let me give you a keyword to get you past this. It's farmer. Otherwise, stay tuned. I'll talk about all those general education questions that you might have. So I'll start with that right now. If you have a college catalog, then somewhere, depending on, every year it's a different page, somewhere between pages 46 and 50, they have a section that says General Education Course List. And that lists several categories of general education classes, like what satisfies our requirements for math, for instance, or for social and behavioral sciences, and so on. So refer to that, or if you want to look at the online version isn't easily accessible from the college's main site. So let me give you the web address for the online version. It's http://catalog.actx.edu, like education, /index.php, like the names Paul, Howard, Paul. Again, that's http://catalog.actx.edu/index.php. It's got all the classes listed that fulfill all these requirements. Let me kind of hit some of the highlights. Some people ask, usually for the math requirement, people usually take either contemporary math, which may not even be listed, but it's acceptable, or college algebra. And people ask, which should I take? Well, it kind of depends on what you want. Really, I think contemporary math probably has math that is a bit more like what you will be doing in radiation therapy. But the college algebra is often preferable, especially if you want to move on to a bachelor's degree later on. The college algebra will transfer as the math course really to anywhere, whereas the contemporary math probably won't transfer. So if you're thinking down the road, transferability, I'd go with college algebra instead of contemporary math. Either one's really going to be fine for as far as I'm concerned personally. Our degree requirement states that we're wanting students to complete radiographic anatomy and physiology, 2 semesters worth. But we also accept human anatomy and physiology, the 4 credit hour class. Radiographic A&P is a 3 credit hour class. And frankly, if I have to recommend one over the other, I would suggest that the human A&P is more flexible for many reasons. One, the radiographic A&P is only offered one time, once a year, face-to-face. So we're stuck with that. And if you miss that one time, you've missed it for the whole year. The human A&P is offered at a wide variety of times, even weekends and weeknights, and maybe by this time online, I'm not sure yet. Probably not yet, but probably in the near future we'll have it. So it's offered at a wide variety of times. The human A&P also is, again, there's a transferability issue. The human A&P will generally transfer as a science credit quite easily to most universities, whereas the radiographic A&P, anatomy and physiology, is seen as a technical course, and so it's unlikely to transfer as a science credit. So if you're thinking again down the road, human A&P might be more preferable. Also, the human A&P offers a lab with it, and if you're like me, like most everybody else, I learn a lot better when I can put my hands on something, when I touch something. So that lab, I think, is an integral part of the learning experience. And I still remember vividly my A&P lab that I took 20 years ago. But I don't really remember the classes very much, but I remember a lot of the labs to this day. So human A&P may be a better choice. Either one is acceptable. As far as, a lot of people ask me about our interpersonal communications requirement. Really, any of the speech classes listed in the general education list will work for our interpersonal communications, things like basic speech and things like that. So usually that's able to transfer okay. The interpersonal communications is preferred personally because the kind of communications that we have with our patients are interpersonal, one-on-one kinds of things. If you take some sort of speech class where you're practicing giving speeches in front of large crowds and stuff, that's really not at all the same kind of communication that we have with our patients. So interpersonal communications is preferred, and actually, as you'll see later on, can earn you more points towards possibly being accepted into the program. The social and behavioral science credit, there's a whole long list of classes. Any one of those fits. If I have to advise a certain one, I would advise general psychology. Again, that can add some more points down the road too if you make a good grade in general psychology, and it's more applicable, I think, to our program and our career. As far as what credit would work for humanities, there's a list of classes, one list that says fine arts, and a second list that says humanities. Any class from either of those lists, fine arts or humanities, satisfies our humanities requirement. So music appreciation, philosophy, many classes along those lines. Pick something that interests you. I have no particular preference on that. I'm a former musician in my other life. My first degree was in music, so I kind of push people that way if I can, but do whatever you want. Learn whatever you want to learn. One thing worth mentioning is that one course cannot satisfy two different requirements. For instance, there's one course, Sociology 2319, which is Minority Studies, which is listed under the Social and Behavioral Science classes, and it's listed in the Humanities classes. You can't get a twofer on this. You can't take that one class and have it satisfy both requirements. So if you take it, it ends up satisfying one or the other, but not both. So if you take it and say that's going to be your Social and Behavioral Science credit, then you'll have to take a Humanities credit course along with it. So that's that. That I think covers most of the general education. Oh, one other really important thing to mention, medical terminology. Our requirement is a 3-semester credit hour course. Some places, some other colleges and universities offer a 2 credit hour medical terminology. That doesn't work. That won't transfer. You can't really transfer 2 credits for 1 without all kinds of problems. So make sure you take, wherever you take it, a 3 credit hour medical terminology course. Something else while I'm thinking about it, back to the anatomy and physiology thing, is if you take A&P at some other institution besides Amarillo College, the way things work out, you really need to take all of your A&P at one institution. We've had problems in the past with somebody taking A&P 1 at some college or university, then wanting to take A&P 2 at Amarillo College. Well, when we look at things, their A&P 1 that they took maybe doesn't cover some of the stuff that our A&P 1 covers, so they're missing some stuff, and maybe their A&P 1 covers some stuff that ours doesn't, so they don't mix and match very well. They're not really congruent. So you really need to, if you take A&P 1 at someplace other than AC, Amarillo College, you really need to take A&P 2 at that same place. So kind of have that in mind as well. That's all about the general education classes. Next we'll move on to talking about other aspects of the degree plan.